so hopefully this is actually recording me because last night I recorded myself grading this and didn't hit record. So I'm going to do this again. All right. So here is our first student example, and I'm just going to go through this a little bit quickly since this is round 2 for me. But a lot of times the first thing I do is I just scroll through because I think about if I were an actual the actual receiver of this message, and I'd probably just look at it to see what it is when I'm going to be reading. And my first thought as I look at this paragraph here, it says technological readiness, is that the paragraph is a little long. For business writing, you want to use short chunks of information. So this paragraph could easily be made into 2 paragraphs instead. This paragraph right here under communications looks great. That's a good length. Political conditions looks good. Economic conditions, this one could definitely, this paragraph here could be separated into 2 chunks. And then the next thing I look at a lot of times is the bibliography or the APA reference page. So just a couple of things here. Make sure that your sources are in alphabetical order, which these are. And then just looking at these, my first thought when I see the CIA one here is 2001 is a really old source because a lot of things have changed in the last 15 years. I'm guessing that that's actually not the date if I were to go to that website. And so make sure you're using the most recent date, and if it is that old, don't use it because it makes an unreliable source. I know someone's yesterday I was looking at, I went to the CIA website and it said most recently updated on August 15, 2016 or something like that. So just kind of look for those dates. All right, anything else that just kind of stands out right now? I think everything looks good. If I weren't recording myself, I would actually take the time to go to these websites while I'm looking at them. But, oh yeah, just ignore all the noises that my dogs suddenly want to make now that I'm talking. But anyway, and I'll do that after I'm done recording, but I won't do it just for time's sake while we're doing this. Okay, so starting from the top. Okay, so it says, with the recent news that we will be soon be, we have an extra B here, so we will, oh, and let me make sure, sorry. So I'm on a Mac, so things might look a tiny bit different if you work on a PC, but Word is very similar. So I'm going to go to review, turn my track changes on, and just make sure that so that you can see all my comments, just make sure your drop down is set to all markup, not simple markup. That is the same from PC to Mac. Okay, so anyway, I'm going to delete that word since that's extra. With the recent news that we will soon be pursuing joint business activities in Israel, I have been asked to conduct current research based upon some key activities within that country. My findings project that conducting business with key players of Israel's technology industry should prove to be beneficial to our company. Let me read that one more time. My findings project that conducting business with key players of Israel's technology industry should prove to be beneficial to our company. Okay, that's all right. All right, so technological readiness. And one thing I also check for too as I'm going along is I look for formatting consistency. You really want to pay attention to details. You want to, one, it makes it just easier on your audience, and then 2, Iris, go down. 2, it also, you just want to show that you're a detail-oriented person. So, okay. Anyway, according to a recently published book by Sand Senior and Saul Singer, oh my gosh, Iris, you're killing me. Israel has the highest density of tech startups, oops, I didn't mean to be, of tech startups in the world. Okay, so when I was looking at the EPA reference page, I did not see senior or singer on there. So I don't know what source that comes from. So normally, oh my gosh, guys. I swear, it's like kids. They don't want your attention until you're talking and doing something. Okay, so anyway, I'm just going to say here, where is this on your APA reference page? And so since it says it's these are authors of a recently published book, then there should be, these authors should be on the reference page, and then there should also be a year here, because the year always goes with the source, whether it's an author or it's the title of an article. And then of course you would have at the end, since it's a book, P period, and then the page number. The numbers produced by these startups amount to, and we don't need a comma here, because anytime you cite something that is, and you're like incorporating it into your sentence and it works grammatically, you don't need a comma before. So amounts to more venture capital dollars per person than any country. And I'm assuming that's the same source, but I'm not 100% sure. If it is, you would just need the page number right here. You wouldn't have to do the whole source again. But again, so like I'm just going to put a little comment here. What source is this from? Okay, that proves to be more than twice the recorded numbers here in the US. Israel also ranks first in availability of scientists. Make sure that's plural. It's easy to miss that S because ist sounds like it could have an S at the end. And engineers. These are key factors that will aid in the success of our business interactions in a foreign market, and now is an opportune time for us to take advantage of this endeavor. It is also widely known that technology giants such as Microsoft, IBM, and Intel have conducted research and development operations in Israel for years. These companies also have large manufacturing facilities across the country. As we begin to expand our operations and broaden our manufacturing service levels, Israel will be a prime location to start doing foreign business. Okay, so far this is all great. I would say, since remember I mentioned that you could break this into 2 chunks, maybe you would do it starting here, because this is starting kind of like a new focus in this paragraph, so I'm just going to make that a new section. Country reports, and country reports I think was on the reference page and it's part of the article title, so let's just confirm. Boom, country reports. Yep, it's from the Israel Country Monitor, which is the periodical. So since country reports is an article title, we want to put it in quotation marks, and then anytime you use your source's name, you want to have the year with it, 2016. So remember, the year always goes with the source, whether that's the article title, when you don't have an author's name, or the author's name. Country reports states, and I know it's like reports is plural, but remember country reports is like the name of one thing, so we need a singular verb here. Country report states that Israel exports nearly $18.6 billion, and we can just do a little $sign there instead of this here, in goods between the U.S. and imports close to $8.6 billion. And then country, so again, we're going to do our quotation marks here. Well, actually, we don't even need that because we said country reports at the beginning, so I'm just going to, we already have this source in the sentence, so we don't need it there. Many of these key exports are software and machinery. We will have the opportunity to work with companies like ourselves and many of the high-level tech industries that continue to grow in the Israeli business economy. So that is great. One thing that students have been neglecting on this first assignment is connecting the information back to the audience. All semester, you want to take an audience-centered approach. You want to make sure that you are connecting your information back, like showing why it's relevant. So I'm just going to put really quickly a comment here, like, good job connecting this information to your company. So you want to show why this information is relevant. When considering the possible transfer of some of our employees, it is important to recognize that Israel is one of the largest communication leaders in the Middle East. As recorded in 2015, 6.35 million users were not where? On the internet in Israel. That's nearly 80% of the entire population. Space. So here's, oops, not C, space. So here's that first one that he said was 2001, but it was, so again, I would say check the year, but the year should be here. Once again, another prime opportunity to grow our company within this market. Okay, that is technically an incomplete sentence. And I'm just going to note that real quick. That could be easily fixed by joining it on to the previous sentence because that's what it relates to. So you could say like that's nearly 80% of the entire population, comma, providing another prime opportunity to grow a company within this market. Although there is more than a 9-hour time difference between our home office here in the States and that of any of our business partners in the Middle East, we will still have sufficient means of communications and reliable sources to keep our teams connected. Okay, so first, delete that comma because the whole first introductory expression is all of that there, and then we have the comma. So we don't need that comma. Then this should actually, good hyphen by the way, but this should be lowercase because, or sorry, written out because in APA numbers 1 through 9 are spelled out. So anything like 10 and up, you use figures. If you have something that's 10 and up in the sentence with something that's 1 through 9, then you always use figures. So like if you had like the number 100 in the sentence, then using the number 9 would be fine. All right, so the next one here. Was there anything else? No. Okay. Political conditions. So one thing I just noticed is there's like a space here, and then this one doesn't have a space before, so I'm going to hit enter. Okay. As we consider our upcoming relations with Israel, we must know and understand that there is constant political turmoil. Israel faces concerns of attack from Middle Eastern terror groups such as the Iranian regime, Hamas, and Hezbollah. These attacks and threats have become a part of many Israeli fears, but the Israeli troops and Israeli political, let's see, oh my gosh, dogs, you're killing me. These attacks, wait, where was I? But the Israeli troops and Israeli political groups continue to progress towards resolutions of peace. Nevertheless, the Israeli people stay strong and grow as leaders in the foreign business economy. We can learn from the strength and resiliency that shines from our soon-to-be partners. So again, great job here connecting this back to the audience. And I meant to say up here too, great job here connecting this back to your audience. But for this, one thing, you have to take an audience-centered approach and think about what would my audience want to know or need to know. So thinking about that, if I'm talking about possible terrorist activity in Israel, I think the one thing my audience would want to know is it safe? So in addition to this, you also want to add in there something about what this means. What do these terrorist activities mean for the expansion of the company? Is it safe to take our 25 employees over there? So I'm just going to put like a little note here, like good job. Oops, connecting this back to your audience. But think about what else your audience would want to know, such as how safe the area is for your 25 employees. Oh my goodness, dog.